The Galactic Military Academy's combat training hall fell silent as the sickening crack echoed through the chamber. Cadet Marcus Chun collapsed to his knees, cradling his shattered right hand against his chest, blood seeping between his fingers. Above him towered Vextek, a 7-foot Krillian warrior whose chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the training hall's harsh lights. Pathetic, Vextek hissed, his mandibles clicking with amusement. This is what the humans send to represent their species. Fragile meat sacks who break at the slightest pressure. The other cadets formed a wide circle around the sparring area, their expressions ranging from shock to disgust. The Altarian instructor, Commander Zephyr, stepped forward with his scanner already active, the device's blue glow playing across Marcus's injured hand. Compound fracture of the metacarpals. Zephyr announced, his tone clinical. Cadet Chun requires immediate medical attention. He fixed his large, dark eyes on Vextek. The exercise was hand-to-hand combat simulation, not bone-breaking. Vextek's thorax expanded in what passed for a shrug among his species. The human should have yielded sooner. In real combat, enemies don't stop because their opponent is hurt. He emphasized the last word with obvious disdain. Marcus struggled to his feet, his face pale but his jaw set with determination. I didn't yield, he said through gritted teeth. And I'm not done. A ripple of surprised murmurs passed through the assembled cadets. Even Zephyr's eye stalks twitched in what Marcus had learned was the Altarian equivalent of raised eyebrows. Cadet Chun, the instructor said carefully, your hand requires 2 minutes. Marcus interrupted, his dark eyes never leaving Vextek's compound visual organs. Give me 2 minutes to reset the bone and we continue. Vextek's mandibles spread wide in a display of aggressive amusement. You cannot be serious, meatbag. You can barely stand. 2 minutes, Marcus repeated, his voice steady despite the obvious pain. The Krillian looked to Commander Zephyr, who seemed to be processing this unexpected development. After a moment, the instructor nodded slowly. Very well. 2 minutes for field medical treatment. Then we continue if you can. Marcus didn't wait for further discussion. He walked to the edge of the sparring area where the emergency medical kit waited. The watching cadet Zephyrians with their crystalline features, Threnody with their fluid forms, Corathans with their metallic skin all, followed his movements with fascination. What happened next will be discussed in academy dormitories for cycles to come. Marcus placed his mangled hand flat against the wall and without preamble, slammed his shoulder against it. The bones clicked back into rough alignment with a sound that made several cadets flinch. He then quickly applied a molecular bonding gel from the medkit. The substance hardened into a temporary cast within seconds. The entire process took 90 seconds. Time, he called out, flexing his fingers experimentally. The hand was far from healed, but it was functional. Vextek's confidence wavered for the first time. This changes nothing. You still cannot match Krillian's strength. Marcus walked back to the center of the sparring area, his movements different now, more focused, predatory. You're right, he said. I can't match your strength. The human's stance shifted subtly, his weight distributed differently, his good hand held loose. At his side, something had changed in his demeanor, something that made the watching cadets unconsciously step back. But strength isn't everything, Marcus continued conversationally. On Earth, we have a saying, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Your primitive metaphors mean nothing, Vextek began, but he never finished the sentence. Marcus moved like liquid lightning. Instead of engaging the Krillian's massive arms, he dropped low, sweeping Vextek's legs while simultaneously driving his elbow into a gap in the alien's exoskeleton just below the thorax. The impact found a nerve cluster that sent the Krillian crashing to the ground, his legs temporarily paralyzed. Before Vextek could recover, Marcus was behind him, his good arm wrapped around the alien's neck in a chokehold that targeted the Krillian's primary breathing spiracle. His injured hand, despite the damage, found and pressed against a secondary spiracle. "Yield," Marcus said quietly. Vexstick thrashed, his superior strength evident, but Marcus's position was perfect. Every movement the Krillian made only tightened the human's grip. Within 30 seconds, Vexstack's struggles began to weaken. "Yield," Marcus repeated, his voice calm and implacable. The proud Krillian warrior tapped the ground frantically with one of his forearms, the universal signal for submission. Marcus released him immediately and stepped back. Vexstack collapsed. Forward, gasping through his spiracles, his entire body shaking from oxygen deprivation. The training hall remained absolutely silent for a long moment. Then Commander Zephyr's voice cut through the quiet. "Class dismissed. Cadet Chun, report to medical immediately." The instructor paused, his eye stalk swiveling to focus on Marcus. "After that, report to my office. We need to discuss your techniques." As the other cadets filed out, many casting odd glances at Marcus, Vexstack finally managed to stand. His compound eyes regarded the human with something that might have been respect. "How?" the Krillian wheezed. Marcus paused at the exit, his injured hand still throbbing. "Every species in the galaxy evolved on worlds that were relatively safe," he said. "Worlds with one or two apex predators, stable climates, predictable dangers." He looked back at Vexstack. Earth had hundreds of apex predators, extreme weather, natural disasters, diseases, and hostile environments in every biome. We didn't just survive it. We conquered it all. He flexed his fingers again, the molecular bonding gel creaking softly. "Breaking my hand didn't weaken me, Vexstack. It just reminded me what I am." As Marcus left the training hall, Commander Zephyr made a note in his personal log. "Recommend immediate review of human combat protocols. Current threat assessment may be insufficient." Behind him, Vexstack was still staring at the door through which the human had disappeared, unconsciously rubbing his neck where bruises were already forming. For the first time in his military career, the proud Krillian warrior felt something he had never experienced before. Fear of a species barely 5 feet tall, with no natural weapons, no armored skin, and bones that broke under pressure. But also, a species that fought harder when injured, thought faster when threatened, and never, ever knew when to quit. The galaxy, Vexstack realized with growing unease, might not be ready for humanity after all.